right, let's see. It is recording. There we go. Hi, everybody. It's Dr. Letitia Wright from the Right Place TV show. I have a great interview to bring you. We're hoping that we're going to go on Facebook Live, but we're not sure what's going on with Facebook Live. So we're going to just record this, and you can see it on the YouTube channel, Right Place TV YouTube channel. And of course, you can see it on rightplacetv.com. I always try to bring to you experts who have done it. We're not talking about theoretical and I read this and this is how I learned to do it, or I read a bunch of books and, you know, there's that theory that if you read 10 books, you are now an expert. Well, let me tell you, in real life, your expertise not only comes from your book knowledge, but from your experience in life and actually putting it to work. Because we all know when we actually put it to work, it's a little different than how it was in the book. So my guest today is Katrina Walker. She's a successful author. She's a businesswoman. She's going to talk about the different businesses that she has created. And she has amassed a fortune. And she has a great hubby who did tech work for us like nobody else. So she's got a great family life going on. And so, you know, for those of you who think you can't have it all, guess what? You can. Here's an example for us to follow. So I'm looking back and forth just to keep an eye on what's going on the computer. But welcome, Katrina. And thank you for sharing with my Right Place TV audience.
Hi, Dr. Wright, and thank you for having me. I'm so excited about being here.
So you have a new book out, and I do want to talk about the book, but I also want to share with people a bit about your background. So you've been in business for a long time. You are a serial businesswoman. You've had several businesses. And yesterday we even talked about the fact that you even had a record label at one time. But
Yes.
Tell me, what was your very first business?
Well, thinking back, my very first business when I was a little girl, about 8 years old, and my mother would constantly say to me, you know, we were poor. She didn't say poor. We're from down south, so she would say, you know, we poor, P-O. And I just couldn't accept it, you know, when she would say to me, you know, when we would have hot dogs and I would ask for a bun, and somebody would say, that's simple, you know, a bun, you know, and or if cereal, I knew the difference as young as age 4. Cereal, I would say, you know, I would describe, can I have the cereal with the tiger on it, the real tiger? And I was talking about Frosted Flakes, okay? Everybody know. And the real tail. And, you know, I would describe these things. And can I have a hot dog with a bun? You know, can we have some buns, please? And my mama, she would cuss. She was a good cusser. She's no longer with us. But I love mama, you know, but she would cuss and she would say, Trina, you know what? You would, you know, you just F it up at everybody, you know, because I wanted these things. You know, I wouldn't accept, you know, the fact that, you know, I can't have buns, you know, with my, you know, and at about 8 years old, I had 2 younger sisters by then. And I would, you know, wake them up on a hot summer day like today. You know, they're drooling, they're asleep. You know, we're little girls. I'm 8. So they're younger than I, and cousins, whoever would be spending the night over. Wake them up, get up, we got to go. And somebody would say, go where? You know, I have already created in my mind a job for all of them, all the little girls. We got to get up. We got to go find bottles. I would be the captain. And when they find these bottles, and see, a quarter was never enough for me. My mother, I can remember her leaving me 1 quarter, leaving my sisters a quarter. And that just wasn't enough for me. So when I would wake them up and they would have to look for bottles, anything that we could take to the store, glass, you know, and once we get to the store, I would have them to drag the bottles in. And when they drag the bottles into the store, I would be the one to tell them, go back out and wait. They would have to go back out and wait. I'd go in and negotiate a deal, you know, with the grown-up person, come back out with dollar bills, and I would pay my crew. They would have dollars, and I would teach them as a little girl. So that started as young as, I would say that started like at 7, about 8, I upgraded. I started going to ladies in the neighborhood and ironing sheets. And I would encourage them and tell them, you know, how good these sheets would feel to sleep on. So I would charge them $1 and they'd be looking at their soap operas, General Hospital, All My Children, or whatever they may be looking at. But I was about 8 years old, just ironing my heart out. So I say about 8, I knew enterprise. I knew business. I knew that a quarter wasn't enough. And I wasn't going to accept 8 years old. At 8 years old, I wasn't going to accept that we were poor. And I told my mom, I said, you know what? Y'all may be but I'm not. They all thought I was kind of like, what is wrong with her?
Well, you know what? You were also creating jobs at 8 years old too.
At 8 years old. Yes, absolutely.
So,
Absolutely.
yeah, that's in you. I'm not sure. I used to think anybody could be an entrepreneur, but now that I'm a little bit older and have a little bit more experience, and I've met people all over the world, I'm not sure that that's something you can do. So I think. Yes. I see successful people like you, and they always have that story when they're really young. I mean, it's like in them.
It just, because like I say, my mother would try to embed in me that, we are po. We are po, Trina. And I can remember going to school and them starting free lunch. That was the first time they started free lunch. And I didn't want it because I knew that they were going to single me out. I was about 10 years old. And I knew that the teacher was going to call my name, the ones with free lunch, and she was going to say free lunch. Come and get your free lunch card, Katrina Walker. And my mother, she said, we are po. I said, I'm not getting it. She said, well, you'll starve. And my older sister, I had an older sister, she tried to convince me. I'm literally like snotty tears, I'm not getting it. I'm not getting it. I'm not getting it. And my sister said, you know what, Trina? The same lady that's cooking it all, whether it's free or whether you're paying for it, it's going to all taste the same. It's all coming out the same pot. But she never could really just convince me. She said, see, they went through all of this trying to explain to me. And I knew, and it happened just like I knew. When I got to school, she would call my name and I would walk up, the ones with free lunch, get my card. And it was a big green card, I'll never forget, with red free lunch stamped across the front. And I was so, embarrassed. And the other children that paid for their lunch, it was just different. It just seemed like they were so much that they were respected. And so I never accepted that. And I had to go through the process of going through free things, but it's only when I needed it was temporary. I didn't want it to be set in my mind that, I had to be like this, for the rest of my life.
Let's fast forward to your business as an adult. You've had a daycare, you've had a record label, you've done several things. Let's talk about those businesses.
Okay, I have had and I have not had. I've been up, I've been down, I've been pulled down, and I've been right back up, and I've always managed to figure it out. Well, I can just remember working as a temporary agency, working through a temporary agency, and finally landing a job at Federal Express because it was a young company. It came to Memphis. The owner that owns Federal Express, he's from Memphis. His name is Fred Smith. So back then he used to come out and he would talk to us and give us these pep talks, about people, service, and profit. And I would listen to Mr. Smith, but in my mind, I would still think, you know what, Mr. Smith, he would tell us about having orange and purple blood and growing within his company. But in my mind, I was still thinking that, you know what, I don't want to be an old lady, working at your company. I thank you, for the job. But what I did was I started thinking outside of the box. I've always been a thinker. And I thought to myself, if he can fly airplanes all around the world while we sleep, international, all around the world, I would think, well, who's keeping these people children? And I was a doggone good mother. And I had learned a lot. He had cargo that was going out. I took his same concept. And I said, you know what? Daycare is closed from 9. Everybody don't work 9 to 5, but they usually close around 5 or 6 o'clock in the evening. I said, I'm going to start the first ever 24-hour childcare center. And people are going to trust me, because they know that I'm a good mother. And I always had the personality. People loved my personality. And they knew that, that I, again, was a great mother, a good mother. So, I took that concept and I said, what I'm going to do is I'm going to have precious cargo, which would be the babies. And I'm going to give these mothers the best quality service. They won't have to worry about their children late at night during the day. And I said, everything is going to be from scratch. The food is going to be cooked from scratch, going to be nutritious. Everything that I did was going to be A1 for those babies. They was going to have a full curriculum. And at the time, like, again, my mom was living, and she was excited and she was a doggone good cook. So, that's what I did. I started the first ever 24-hour child care center. Children were going to come roll in and roll out. His packages rolled in and rolled out, but I had precious cargo and he had cargo. So I took that concept from Federal Express and it was all around the globe, all around the world, with the children.
Very good. And then what was your business after the precious cargo? Then you started another business.
I started another business. I started investing in real estate, and then I started a record label with my children. And from there, started a foundation called Blind Eye, which, I felt that, I wanted to take things back to where I came from, because I went through a lot of hardships, homeless, penniless, 4 children, nowhere to live, you name it. I went through, I wore every hat that you could imagine, I lived more lives, I would say, than a cat. And so I wanted to build this center and stick it right back in what they call the hood, where I came from. I wanted to help those young mamas, that had their heads down. So I wanted to take, as far as the record label, I wanted to pull these fellows that people wouldn't normally touch with a 10-foot pole, and they would listen to me. They called me mama. I was everybody's mama, and I took them off the street and I taught them, you don't have to worry about somebody knocking at your door and kicking your door in. If you're worried about a car, get a car the right way. So this is what I did, and I didn't know anything about philanthropists. I always thought in my mind it was called being free-hearted, So, I, just helped a lot of fellows that otherwise would have been out there doing things that they didn't have to do to try to come up, and I went from driving bread trucks, to Bentleys, and I taught them how, and women, I taught them how to be bigger than a boot. I heard a guy call a girl a boot girl. So those are the things that I did. I took it back, to where I came from, to the hood,
So tell us about your foundation.
Okay, Blind Eye. I get sensitive sentimental when it comes to that, because I had a nephew that I lost, and he was addicted to crack cocaine. And see, my thing is, I'm not embarrassed about my life or things that has happened in my life, because it helps others. And I talk about it. I encourage other people. Don't be embarrassed. Everybody, Black people, we were known to sit Uncle Henry in the back room and be embarrassed, not knowing that maybe he has Alzheimer's, maybe he needs some help. Bring him out front, let him smile, let him laugh, let him, But anyhow, my nephew, I lost him, and he was addicted to crack cocaine. And so many people that I see that's on the street that's addicted to drugs, and so many women that I see, that deal with domestic violence, and along with myself, I dealt with it. And people don't realize you can deal with it mentally, and I dealt with it mentally, I dealt with it physically. And Blind Eye is like, you have your hand of your eye, you see it, but you don't. You see that girl with that black eye, you got 10 pair of tennis shoes that you ain't gonna wear, give one of those to somebody. So Blind Eyes, it's not about going home eating your steak and potatoes, it's about helping others. And that's why I came up with the concept of Blind Eye. And right now I'm in the process of building a rehabilitation home to sit some of these people down, to give them a second chance, to hire a full-time nurse. It's so many great people out here that everybody has they don't see them anymore, and I just want to be able to help, just be able to help people.
That's awesome. Tell us about your book.
My book, I got it right here.
Yeah, show us the book.
It's called Unbreakable.
Okay.
And 5 husbands, homeless to self-made millionaire.
Wow.
And I speak about being married 20 years to my children's father and all the things that I went through, all the ups and downs and struggle and being homeless and penniless, and all the infidelities, of him coming in any time of the morning and wanting to fight and having to run and couldn't ask questions, and all the things that I went through in that marriage. And my children, they were my everything. They were my motivation. When I would look in their little eyes, and all I wanted to do was take them to Disney World, just to twirl around in one of those cups, and I knew as long as I stayed with him, it would never happen. So I talk about all this, I talk about the mental abuse, and also it's a lot of laughter in this book. Believe it or not, my mama, Miss D, I can't tell y'all everything about Miss D, but she was the one that was sitting on that couch that she said she had 30 years, not 30, but 30 years, that blue sofa with that plastic. Everybody know a little bit about that plastic and with that glass water in her hand. So that black woman, honey, she tell you, when you running toward her refrigerator to get some cold water, you better not go in my refrigerator. But anyhow, she was a good woman, and Lord knows I love mama. But this book, like I say again, is a great book. You're going to laugh. People going to wonder, what are you laughing at? And sometimes you're going to tear up and you're going to cry, because I started off talking about a home invasion that happened to me where I almost lost my life, and people were pouring hot sauce in my eyes. So, you'll see this, and looking at me, you know, you really can't tell, but Lord knows I've been through it. But I say I went through it, and God still have me here for a reason, you know, to tell my story and to help others.
Absolutely. So let everybody know where they can get the book, your website, and I know it's
Yes. You can get it on Amazon. You can get this book on Amazon, or you can go to my website and get this book. And my website is Miss, and that's spelled MS, Katrina, Katrina Walker.com. Or you can, like, again, you can go to Amazon and get the book. It's called Unbreakable, the Katrina Walker Story. And I would love for everybody to visit me on Instagram, and that's Miss Katrina Walker. Everything is Miss Katrina Walker, everything but Facebook, and that's the THE Katrina Walker. I would love for everyone to read this book. It is wonderful, not a boring page.
Absolutely. Stay inspired and get inspired, or give it to someone that you think needs it. Before we go, I'd love for you to just speak really quickly into the camera to that entrepreneur woman who's trying to get that business together, but right now her home life might be a little so chaotic that maybe she feels like she can't move forward.
I just want her to know that if I did it, Dr. Wright, that she can do it. I had 4 little children, and I say that to say that, you know, you never give up on the things that you want to do, you know. And I'm gonna take it back to the basics of something my grandmother used to say: you crawl before you walk. I started out with 3 rooms. You know, I started out with saying that, you know, I want to make $5,000. $5,000 was $20,000. And I had never seen that kind of money in my life. And I remember when I first made my millions, and I went to my account and I made $3.some million. There was that dot right there, you know. But, you know, I want to say to her, don't give up. But I want to say to anyone, you got to work hard. You know, you know what? It doesn't fall out the sky. Katrina Walker worked for everything that I've got. That's why I say I'm self-made. Didn't no guy, didn't no fella give it to me. You know, I knew that as a woman, that didn't stop me. Just because I'm a woman, I didn't pull those cards. And I'm a black woman. I didn't have no cards that I pulled to say, you know, just because I'm a black woman, I can't do it, or I'm a woman. My brain is just as big. And anything that you want, you know, we're told that as little kids, but it's true. But if you work hard at something, believe me, if you plant a seed and you go back and you nurture that seed, believe me, something's going to grow. So I say to that woman, I say to that man, you know, get out there, you know, anything you want, start off small, crawl before you walk. Don't let the banks tell you, you know, no, you know, start off, rent a place, start off. I rented 3 rooms, and the room started out 3 to the whole floor till I had children everywhere, you know, nowhere to put them, a waiting list. So applaud yourself and start off small, and don't give up.
Very good. Thank you so much. We've been visiting with Katrina Walker. I'm Dr. Letitia Wright from Wright Place TV. You can get her book at Miss Katrina Walker, MS, MissKatrinaWalker.com. It's also available on Amazon. This interview is going to be available on WrightPlaceTV.com, my show, and on my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thanks for having me.
You guys remember, ignoring one's conscience is neither safe nor right. And I'll see you next time.